I have chosen to do my project on how to uncancel on Cierra Ortega. And then for all of you that don't know, Cierra is a 25-year-old influencer who was a recent contestant on Love Island season 7 of Love Island USA. Why Sierra was canceled. She was removed from the villa mid-filming because of social media posts that resurfaced of her using anti-Asian racial slurs, both in 2015 as well as 2023. And then days later, she commented on an Instagram post referring to her fellow Islanders fans, Huda Mustafa's fan base, as Huda rats. People considered that insensitive, especially because Huda is Palestinian, as well as she made a TikTok shortly after her exit, which she blamed like bad editing and getting the villain edit, as well as she booked a trip to Mykonos to escape the drama, and people felt that she was deflecting blame and not being held accountable for her actions. I actually took the liberty of looking on Talkwater, which is a data analytics platform, and I looked at Sierra's public perception or her net sentiment, and the negative, like red dips that you see indicate June 28th to the 23rd and June July 18th to the 21st. And the first set of like major red is right after the racial slur allegations came out and her removal from the villa. The chart dipped nearly 100, like minus 100%, which indicated an overwhelming backlash, and she was not in good graces with the public. Rightfully so, as well as the June 18th to the 21st, which is the second large red divot you see, and this corresponds to the shade that she left on TikTok with her partner that she coupled up with in the villa, Nick, as well as Huda. But why I do think that Sierra would be able to redeem herself, it's because she's young and she's able to evolve. Her career wasn't based on shock value and the things that she said or did in the villa. It was based on her charisma, fashion, and relatability, as well as cancel culture allows for redemption when people show accountability and growth, as well as being authentic and showing vulnerability. Gen Z will often give you a second chance. That just all you have to do is be educated, learn, educate others, as well as show your actions on how you've become a better person. Potential posts that I foresee Sierra needing to use in order to create this comeback campaign is an apology video. Sierra would publicly acknowledge her wrongdoings in a video statement. She takes accountability, expressing regret, and emphasizes her commitment to learning and growing from the experience. Post two would be an Instagram carousel, and this would kind of be in reference to the backlash she was receiving for going on the trip to Mykonos. And it would be Mykonos wasn't an escape, it was a wake-up call. And this post reflects on her personal growth during a trip to Greece. She frames it as a cultural journey of self-awareness rather than escapism, focusing on learning from cultural experiences and confronting her past mistakes with introspection. The slides that I have kind of put together would be a sunset aesthetic photo with a journal showing the introspection that she's doing, and it's not just a leisurely vacation, as well as a book or an article she's reading while on the trip on cultural humility, a quote from a local tour guide or historian while she was sightseeing within Greece, on something that kind of stood out or kind of stuck with her and either in reference to kind of self-reflection as or the culture that she's surrounded in. And then a fourth would be her own written reflections, potentially what she wrote in her journal and what she's learned and gained from this experience. A third mock post would be an Instagram TV segment from conflict to conversation, a sit down with Huda Mustafa, and Sierra collaborates with a friend she's offended, Huda, for an open, honest discussion, and the video centers on listening, learning, and growing from cultural insensitivity. And the video structure that I foresee happening would be the obvious, their Love Island experience and reflecting on that, having an honest dialogue about Huda's culture as well as Sierra's culture, being a Mexican and Puerto Rican woman, and them kind of just having a conversation on that, as well as Sierra's reflection on what she learned specifically from this very deep, meaningful conversation and Huda's community. And kind of the fourth step would be action together on what they are going to do in order to become better members of society and be more respectful to each other's respective heritage and communities. A fourth post that I see is a TikTok that she makes, a TikTok series called Style with Substance, dressing respectfully while exploring the world. Cierra was known on Love Island for her really cool girl style. So Cierra would use TikTok to reflect on cultural sensitivity through fashion. She acknowledges her past missteps and commits to educating herself on the cultural significance of the style she's wearing while traveling. The video encourages followers to think critically about the difference between appreciation and appropriation. I kind of see this as her doing get ready with me while she's styling, creating these outfits. She can talk about the pieces that she's wearing, the culture that it comes from, as well as the meaning and the context to show gratitude for the pieces that she's wearing and making sure that it's a learning experience. So it kind of is a perfect intersection between fashion, which aligns with her brand, as well as a learning opportunity and an educating opportunity through cultural awareness. And then a fifth post would be an Instagram carousel from the people who raised me of family reflection post. And Sarah reflects on her roots and the values instilled in her by her family. The emotional post acknowledges how her upbringing shaped her character and contrasts her online missteps with the lessons she's learned growing up. And just a little preface, which I mentioned here in the caption. But while she was facing her backlash, her family actually released a statement before Sierra got her phone back. And in the statement, it said that ICE was actually called on them not because of their residency status, but simply out of racism and the backlash that Sierra was receiving was now placed on her family. Um, so this post would kind of acknowledge that within the caption, but the slides that I have curated would be a childhood photo of Sierra with potentially like her grandma, her grandpa, or her parents. She actually posted the photo that you see on the screen on an Instagram story, so something that kind of resembles that. And the second slide would be a quote from her family member about respect, pride, or resilience, maybe a motto that she had growing up that was kind of passed around in our household. Slide three would be a photo of a family dinner or a family moment in the present, kind of like a then and now situation. Fourth slide would be things my family taught me graphic, and it would have two bullet points, and it would be listen before you speak and don't run from your mistakes, face them. And then why I believe that these strategies will work is because this campaign is centered around accountability rather than defensiveness, and it shows her own actions without minimizing them. It highlights emotional vulnerability. It engages directly with those harmed, such as the sit down with Huda. It connects her passions, such as travel and fashion, with responsible, intentional education and cultural awareness. It shows long-term growth, not just a one-time apology, as well as it humanizes her as a person rather than just someone we see on her TV screens. These are the resources I have gathered